Welcome to Season 5 of Far Reach Voyages, where we share our love of sailing and adventure travel. In the last episode, I just completed my third 1,500-mile voyage to the Virgin Islands. It was the most difficult of the voyages due to higher winds and increased number of squalls I had experienced than on previous passages. Nonetheless, we arrived without any damage or system failures. The Far Reach was in as perfect a working order as she was the day we took our departure from Beaufort, North Carolina. This seems like a good time to take a break from sailing the Virgin Islands and instead share a few thoughts on the Cape Horn Windvane. This is not going to be an advertising video. I'm not going to describe how it works or how to install it. I'll do that in another video. But for this episode, I'm just going to describe why the Cape Horn Windvane is so important to me. It's January. We're sailing up the Francis Drake Channel in the Virgin Islands. It's the tip of St. John up ahead. Steering in a nice straight line. If you look ahead, see the heading hardly changes a bit. If you look back here, see our Cape Horn Windvane just steers like she's on rails. Doesn't zigzag, just holds a nice steady course. The air blade's up straight, which means we've got the helm balanced. This is a highly modified Cape Dory 36 Carl Alberg design. Full keel, attached rudder, no aperture, 2-blade folding prop. She just tracks straight as can be. Cape Horn Windvane has proven through 3 voyages down to the Virgin Islands to be our most valuable crew member. So why is it so important? Well, because I almost never hand steer the boat. From the time I leave Beaufort, North Carolina, till I arrive in the Virgin Islands 1,500 nautical miles later, I don't touch the tiller. Same for the return trip. The Cape Horn does all the steering. In sailing single-handed, there is no other way to steer the boat unless you rely on an electric autopilot. Even with 2 people taking turns at the helm, both sailors end up exhausted in no time. And I use the Windvane coastal sailing or river sailing as well. I almost always have the Cape Horn steering. Unlike a human helmsman, it doesn't get tired, it doesn't get distracted, it doesn't get hungry. It just happily steers and steers and steers. And the Cape Horn steers a very straight line, upwind or downwind, heavy air or light air, just as you saw. These days, it seems most sailors use an electric autopilot, but I have very little electric power on the Far Reach. This is by choice. Let's keep things simple so they're reliable, easy to repair, and inexpensive to maintain. Unlike an electric autopilot, which uses a fair amount of battery power to operate and can make substantial noise below deck due to the electric motors that power the hydraulic ram, the Cape Horn uses 0 electric power and is absolutely silent. I like the Cape Horn because it's low profile and exceptionally elegant compared to any other Windvane on the market. The control lines also run under the deck, so there's nothing to trip over. The Cape Horn is so simple. There are no gears or bearings, thus it's exceptionally reliable. That's important to me. When you're sailing offshore, it's critically important to make your boat reliable. If there are any weaknesses in your boat or her systems, I assure you Mother Ocean will find them, and you will be unhappy when she does. And these are just a few of the reasons why the Cape Horn Windvane is so important to me. If you enjoyed this episode of Far Reach Voyages, let us know in the comments. Also, consider liking and subscribing, as it tells us you would like to see more videos and it helps the channel grow. See you in the next episode.